Hi, everybody. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, America's #1 small business expert, and I would like to welcome you to Small Biz Chat Live. Here we engage experts to conduct interviews for the Small Biz Chat podcast. Today's show is all about how to consider your leadership role in your business and the community around you. Then we're going to switch gears and talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, all that alternative stuff. And we're also going to talk about how there's discord in the world, but hearing about all these hacks one after another, all of us need to know more strategies to keep our financial assets straight. Tonight's guests are dedicated to helping people think differently about business, money, and the greater society. Tonight's guests come from some amazing backgrounds and they're here to share. And if you've been struggling with how to position yourself as a leader in your business or in your community, I've got some inspiration and advice for you. If you're trying to get started with cryptocurrency, you're in the right place. We have got two business experts who are going to tell us how to expand our thinking and provide resources to get all of us going in the right direction. The Small Biz Chat podcast is a peer-to-peer interview show that gives small business owners a way to get invaluable information and business insight. The mission of Small Biz Chat is to end small business failure. The goal is to give our small business audience the opportunity to hear sage advice from multiple angles so that you can grow your business and take it to the next level. Tonight's guests are both women who I hold in the highest regard. First up is Brolin Cpa. She is the founder of Team Brolin and the author of the new book, The Designated Motivator. She's here to talk to us about her new book, and we're going to talk a little bit about accounting too. I can't have one of my favorite CPAs in the house and not talk about what's going on in business. And we also have Sonia Dumas. She is a finance expert, cryptocurrency educator, and she is going to tell us, is it too late to get in? Did they make all the money already? Anyway, with that, I want to introduce my very first guest, my good friend and human firecracker, Brolin Cpa. She is the founder of Team Brolin, which is a nationally recognized accounting firm based in Connecticut. She joins us tonight because we're going to talk about her new book, The Designated Motivator, which is a practical guide for individuals who have the passion for engaging in business and their personal lives. She's going to help us all reach our full potential with that. Dawn, welcome back to the Small Biz Chat podcast.
Melinda, you know you're one of my favorite people out there because you give with all of your heart. So more than anything, I'm just happy to be here with you. And Sonia is a gigantic bonus. So I'm as excited as anybody else listening to the show to listen to her wisdom. So thank you for having me.
Oh, gosh. Well, Dawn, let's jump right in. Let's start from the beginning. Tell me, all right, how did you get rolling, starting your business, and how has that translated into you figuring out what your superpower is?
We all think back at that first moment we were like, I'm going to start my own business and I'm super excited about it. And, so back in 1999, let me date myself. Yes, I'm old. And I decided to start a new business. I wanted to be a bookkeeper. I knew when I was 16, I wanted to be in business. I knew I wanted to be an accountant. And so I said, you know what, I'm going for it. And so in 1999, I said, you know what, I'm not doing the corporate route. That was just my choice. And I decided to start being a bookkeeper. And then I went back to school, and then I got my CPA later in life. Then I got my certified fraud examiner license, and I was cranking. And so, I just built my business, and the most important thing to me has always been in my life is leaving people better than I found them. I'm not saying I always have, because nobody's perfect, right? But that's what I've strived to do. And so from start to finish, I've been through working by myself as a sole prop, to having employees, to having partners, to growing a business to 10 employees, and then saying, wait, that's not for me, and cutting back to 4. So I've been through it all. And then, we'll talk about the book and how that kind of came too.
Definitely. All right. So your firm, Team Brolin, you built that up, and you're also a major influencer in the accounting industry, right?
Right. I found that when I started to get really passionate about what I was doing in the accounting industry, we'd have to go to conferences, get certified. It's really due diligence and responsibility. That's our job, to protect the public in the accounting world, certainly in the tax world of protecting them from paying more to the IRS than they should, which is our job. And I found that I need to start educating myself. I went to a conference. I saw the lady speaking, Leslie Capichetti, one of my heroes in accounting. And I said, I want to teach with you. And she said, let me tell you how to do it. She put her hand out, picked me up, gave me the guidance I needed, and I ran with it from there. And I think from a major influencer perspective, that's part of our job. Our job is, as we get out there and we strive to help our colleagues and help our industry in general, it's time for us to put our hand out and pull people up as well. And that's where I got my inspiration. So I'm out there now. I want to change the accounting industry in ways that they never imagined. And that's some of what we'll talk about with the book, because we're going to take this book that I've already written and take it a step further for my colleagues in my industry to better them.
I love it. I love it. All right. So tell me about the book, The Designated Motivator. Okay. Why did you write it? I got to be honest with you. I kind of thought you were going to come out with an accounting and finance book.
Yeah,
like an accounting for dummy, like a cash flow for dummies kind of situation. So I was really surprised when you sent me the note, like, hey, I got this new book. It's The Designated Motivator, and I'm like, wow, okay. So tell me about this. Tell me about your new passion.
This book has filled my soul. Okay. And being out there, being an accountant, that's obviously important. I do my job of due diligence and compliance and the normal things, but really at the end of the day, my job is to really influence and positively motivate and transform in a positive way every single person I come in contact with. And here's the thing, I feel like, and you asked me about being an influencer in the accounting industry, I've been doing that in different ways, just as my colleagues have done it to me, as you, Melinda, who fills the souls of small business owners. And I realized through a simple thing, this little yellow ball, weird enough, I decided in 2019 that I was not just going to be an accountant. I needed to fill my soul with something other than my normal day-to-day. So I decided, because who else doesn't do this? I got in contact through various channels with my former teammate from college. We won the national tournament in 1990, college women's softball, Division III. It was a time of our life. And I said, I really miss it. I went to a game and I just got really excited about it. So she approached me and said, hey, you want to coach next year? And I go, Pep, I'm an accountant, right? And she's like, well, yeah, duh. And I said, it's tax season during softball, right? And she said, yeah, so? And I thought to myself, yeah, so? And I said, you know what? I'll give you everything I can. I can't promise you 110%, that's all I really drive on. As you, Melinda, know, I'm a nut.
I do crazy. Know how you do things, Dawn. Definitely.
I'm either all in or I'm all out. That's just how it is, right? So I approached it in that I'll do the best I can. I still have my role as an accountant, things like that. We went into the season. I'm not going to drag it out too long, but I want you to feel the passion that I had. I go to this softball practice, not even really remembering the rules. And they gave me my bag tag and they said, volunteer coach. And I looked at that bag tag and I went, no, that does not describe me in any capacity whatsoever. And so I made my own name tag. The first was co-head coach, because I'm not just going to be an assistant. Let's be real. And then I decided I was going to be something called the Designated Motivator. And in the moment I put that on my bag tag, I really didn't know what it meant at first. And then as the season went on, I realized this team was an average team the year before. They were 500 best record. They came back. Their goal was, well, let's be like 600%, 600 record instead of 5. And I'm like, what? We're going for the natty. We're going for the national tournament. What do you mean we're going to go for 500? So the same team that came back at 500 and we're like, oh, we'll just, be good. I said that I'm not doing this. I must be in the wrong room. And so I decided each one of those individuals, I was going to get into their head, into their heart, and into their soul and make a change in them to help them realize how good they could be if they decided to play together, to do something different than they ever did before and have the guts to move forward in a way they never did before. And the end of the story, there were so many examples and a lot of them are in the book, and it's not about sports. At the end, I realized it wasn't about sports. It was about a team, a business, an organization, a church, a family. It doesn't matter what it is. If you can have that transformative effect in a person, I have goosebumps right now. you can change the world one person at a time, one team at a time, one church at a time, because that's ultimately what we're here for, right? And so at the end of the story of that 2019 softball team, who was less than about 500 the year before, same kids coming back, they were third in the country. We finished third in the country. And there were so many amazing stories along the way, simple little things like you walk in your office and you have a staff member, you're a colleague or you own the company and you see your team, your person there, your staff person, and you walk up to them and you literally look them right in their face. And you say, hey, how was your weekend? I know your daughter had a soccer game. How did that go? Was it fun? Whatever. And you actually continue looking at them because you actually want to hear what they have to say. That gives a person a feeling that you don't get just from hey, how was the soccer game? Okay, cool, great. All right, you working on that project? Awesome. And when you take that moment of time, and I'm obviously a little extra. So I did some pretty crazy things.
You think, Dawn?
I think a little. I bought a bullhorn and I would show up to practice and I'm like, 22, what are you doing? And I'm just like, because I'm crazy. But the thing is, when I would arrive, if you arrive at a place, you arrive at work and people are like, Melinda's here. Awesome. And when I arrived to practice, those kids would run. They call me mom now, right? They would run to me and they would be like, Mom's here. What's up, Brolin? And they would have this fire in their belly that they just didn't have before. That's all they needed. That's all people need. And I realized what gift God gave me in this ability to be outrageous, and not everybody has to be that outrageous. You can go to a cashier at a gas station, buy a Coke and say, hey, thank you so much. I really appreciate you. I hope you're having a great day, and smile at them. Their whole attitude changes. And if we don't need that right now in our country, I don't think we need anything else. And that's just, now it's my mission.
I love it. I love it. So you feel like this whole thing of discovering that designated motivator title, that really kind of has ignited like a superpower in you? Like, is this like your zone of genius, Dawn?
It is, Melinda. I thought I was psycho before. Let me just tell you one little thing. I bought a body bag. I bought a body bag this year for the team. And when we beat other teams, we put their lineup on it. I'm over the top to help them imagine things. Obviously, that's a little crazy, but to see them have that, oh my goodness, we could do this. We could win the whole thing. Made every moment that I spent with them outside of my business worth it.
That is awesome. So I have something funny to tell you. So when I first moved to Philadelphia, when I was still working in the television industry as a producer, I coached 9 and 10-year-old girls softball because I played softball in high school and college as well. I didn't play on the team. I played intramural because when I got to college, I was like, look, it's a little bit too crazy down here. I need to make sure I graduate. So I didn't want to play for the team. I didn't want to play for Virginia Tech, but I played in the intramural league. But I know exactly what you mean about motivating little girls and what that means to them. But I wanted to switch gears with you a little bit because I do think that I wanted to ask you, don't you think that natural born leaders are automatically motivators? Is that like a gene that we kind of all, those of us that are leaders that have been leaders? I mean, I think I'm the oldest in my family. I always tell people I was born the boss. Look, I've been telling people what to do my whole life. And then my first job out of college, I got a job where I got to tell people what to do. And then I started my own business and I'm still telling people what to do. So I tell people all the time, I've been a boss my whole life. That whole boss lady thing, that's me. So, but I'm wondering though, do you feel like this is something that's in people that you have to kind of unlock?
I do think that. I think people don't here's where I think the secret is. Leaders lead and they lead well. I don't think they realize the impact that their leadership is having on other people. And let me give you an example. I speak at a lot of conferences, and I'll talk to people. I'll go to a conference next week. I'm going to a big, huge nerd fest in Vegas for CPAs, right? And so I'm going to go to that, and people will come up to you, me, Heather Satterley. There's a ton of leaders out there in our industry, and we all, Casey Johnson, and we hug all over each other when we see each other. Oh my goodness, do we miss that? But someone will come up to us and say, Dawn, do you remember when you gave that talk at Scaling New Heights in 2017 about X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, I remember the topic. Well, you said something to me and it changed my entire life. Mm-hmm. I thought I was just giving a talk about how to do fraud detection. But I don't give a typical, here's your slides, this is what we're talking about. That's not how I roll. I make it action-packed. So I think, yes, I feel like a leader in my industry, but I don't realize the impact I have on others. And when I feel that impact, it's like I feel like I'm going to explode with just energy. And I think that's it. I think every leader, yes, is a designated motivator in their way. I don't know if they all realize the impact their leadership is having on individual by individual basis.
Well, and I want to dovetail off of that, though, because I do think sometimes, people have different leadership styles, and particularly people in athletics. Like I tend to sometimes see what I call negative leadership in, like people like, I'm just being hard on you because I believe in you so much. That kind of that how do we sort of like untrain some of these like hard knock life, motivators versus these inspirational, aspirational leaders? Like I think there's a different kind of leadership, and unfortunately some of the negative guys have big results and big numbers too. So how do you sort of like position this thing as designated motivator versus designated hard ass leader? And that's how I get results, by fear and retribution. Kind of how do you kind of, what is going to be, how are you going to beat those people down? Because those people still think they're right. Right.
Correct. Well, in the dynamic with this, the head coach, as my former teammate, she's that hard ass girl, and she's, all over those kids and just like whatever. I really believe a combination of hard ass and motivator, because myself, and I'll tell you what a motivator does. The moment a motivator gets really mad, do they pay attention? Because I remember one game I popped off on them and they were just like deer in headlights. And it was like, so that point moving forward, they were like, Brolin, are you at that point again? Because we don't want to see that ever again. But I think because that's not pretty either, that could be bad. But I 100% agree with you. I think the negative coaching experiences have to change. Listen, when I was a kid, my dad whipped me with that belt, and boy, I straightened out hardcore immediately. Number one, you can't do that anymore. The kids go to school, you've got DCF on your doorstep, right? So that type of, that's just similar to so we have to tone it down and try to teach those people who are out there. We had the team that beat us in the national tournament in 2019. That guy was that guy. I could not stand him. I was like, how do you treat, like, I wanted to go hug those kids. My heart was broken. So they won the national tournament. Okay. That's great. When they look back, what are they going to say for their experience? We won a national tournament, but I hated my coach.
Right.
And we don't want that either.
It's that whole Cobra Kai thing, right? and I'm dating myself with my Karate Kid reference, but I do know they have reprised it on Netflix. But, my point is that it's like that mean, evil, win at all costs, winners or, losers. And, it's like, whoa, wait a minute. What is the point of all of that?
Yeah. I think the designated motivator concept brings a whole nother tone that I don't think is normal. It's not usual to see someone in the dugout, and not saying again that everybody has to be crazy like me with a bullhorn, but we have to have that balance, and especially for our young people. Our young people have got to be, I don't want coddling. I'm not coddling kids. That don't get that confused, because coddling does nothing for anybody. But what it does is infuse a belief into their souls that they can be the best they can be. And however best they are, that's who they are. I'll give you an example. We had a kid on the team. She was a pinch runner. I said to her, honey, that is all you're ever going to do. You will not see the field. You're not going to be playing in the field, but tell you something right now. You could be the difference between a national tournament and not a national tournament because you're running a base. I said, what you have to do and what we try to get them to do is to accept their role and then infuse as much positivity in their role as possible, because every position is different. And that's just like in your business. You have a salesperson, you have an inventory manager, you have an administrative assistant on the front line. Those people have different roles, and one is not better than the other. They're all as important because you're always as weak, as strong as your weakest link. And that's the facts. So you got to pull that person up from the bottom who feels like what they're doing is not worthy because they're not the best. They don't have to be the best at everything. They have to be the best at whatever their role is. And that goes on to business all day long.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Well, listen, I'm going to put a pin in that. We're going to take a commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to talk more with Don Brolin about the Designated Motivator. You're watching the Small Biz Chat live, and we will be right back.
People always ask me, how can I become my own boss? With multiple features in the New York Times, Forbes, and on ABC News as America's #1 small business expert, I know a thing or two about how to do it. Hi, I'm Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady, and I've been coaching small business owners since 2008. That's right, I've been helping small business owners plan for success since the last recession, and I'm still here reaching over 3 million small business owners a week online. I've spent the last 12 years compiling exactly what I did to become my own boss. I even broke it down into a 6-step system in my best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. Over 100,000 people in multiple languages around the world have this book, and due to the pandemic, I know people need help. If you're ready to transition successfully from being an employee into your own business, I'm here to help. I'm giving away 1,000 copies of Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months for free. All you need to do is pay for shipping. That's right, I'm giving away 1,000 copies for free. If you've always wanted to start your dream business, let me give you a roadmap to success. This offer will only be available while supplies last, and when they're gone, they're gone. Click on the button to grab your copy today.
Welcome back to the Small Biz Chat Live. I'm back with my guest, Don Brolin, CEO of Team Brolin, and she's going to help us understand the motivation movement. All right, Don, you wrote this book, The Designated Motivator. Now you're leading the motivation movement. What is that? What are you doing?
I'm just trying to have this transformative positive effect in anyone I touch. And I want to help other people do the same for others, because obviously there's a lot of people in the world, can't do it all myself. So I'm trying to just make this thing real for people, for them to realize it is actually a thing. And I experienced it, so I know it works. So now I moved on and I said, okay, I love the chicken soup for the soul conversation. So I take the Designated Motivator and infuse it where I can. There's a lot of vision that I have between, there'd be Designated Motivator for the family, Designated Motivator for teens, Designated Motivator for what? Well, the next book's going to be the Designated Motivator for accounting professionals, because that obviously the accounting industry is a passion of mine. I have so many wonderful colleagues. I interact with so many other accountants throughout the country. And really over the last year and a half, the accounting industry has seen something like obviously no one's ever seen, but we focus in our industry. But we've seen a lot of pain in our small businesses. We've seen a lot of pain in our tax clients. We've seen a lot of pain with our frustrations with the IRS and how slow they are right now. And, they can make excuses, but we can't. And so over the last year and a half, there's a lot of pain, and a lot of it can be avoided. And so my job, in my opinion, is to write this book to motivate people. They're in one phase or another. They're either in, I want out of this. They need to have a conversation with me. Or, you know what? You're right, Brolin. I'm ready to get motivated. I'm ready to go. What do I do? And so it's going to be really a practical motivational guide to help them to see where they are. Are they servicing clients that maybe are not in their best interest? Because I had a client just about a month ago that we fired. I mean, we did revenue of around $200,000 with that particular company. And he was just so mean to us at one point that I said, I can't have that in my soul, on my body. I can taste it. I don't like it. And there's not a dime that money means nothing to me. And we said goodbye. And I think there's people in our industry who are servicing amazing clients. And I think of my restaurant out of Pittsburgh, and I think of my refurbishing company out of Colorado. And I think of all these clients that I have who, when I call them, they're so excited to talk to me. When they call me, I can't wait to talk to them. And then there's the other clients that you're like, oh, they call and you're like, my gut hurts. And so we've got to fix that in every area of our life. And for us who have to feed their families, we got to have a motivation movement to make a change that when we go to work, we want to go to work. And when we talk to people, we want to talk to people. And so we need to make that change in our industry.
All right. So let me ask you a personal question. How do you stay this positive all the time? Because Don, let me tell you something. I'm the small biz lady. I love my mission to end small biz failure. But listen, there are days when I don't want to put my cape on and save the day. There are days. So I want to know, how do you handle those kind of days? Who motivates the designated motivator?
Yeah, well, there's a little combination there. I know for me, and I love to use the example of the softball kids. When you go to a place and people are so excited you go to church, it doesn't matter where you go. You come home from work, this probably happens all the time. People are like, Mom! No, that's not real. But going to many other places where you walk in and you give them every ounce of your soul and they start to give it back. And that's motivation to me. You know, my dad, of course, was from an origination situation. My dad was my motivator, was the hardest working man. He was a foreman at Pratt Whitney. And when there was a strike, he would never cross the picket line against his guys. He would sleep over for 2, 3, 4 days, 2 weeks at a time, because he was a true leader. And his team depended on him, and he depended on his team. And that was his job. And I would watch him. So I knew what hard work, dedication, and commitment to the people who are committed to you. He taught me that. And so, but as far as a day-to-day vision, of course, my family, I mean, I can't say enough about my family. They have to deal with this psychoticness every single day. They never know what's coming down the stairs. But you're right. There are days where I'm just like, you know what, this like Monday, unfortunately, I was supposed to have you on my podcast. And I had a friend that passed away on Sunday. I didn't want to do anything. So you know what I did? I didn't do anything. And I picked my big girl pants up, tightened them up on Tuesday morning, and went back to work, because I know there's people that are counting on me to help them with their business, with their taxes, with whatever it may be. And so sometimes it's going to come from your gut. And do you have the guts to stand up and say, you know what, today sucks, but I'm going to get out there and I'm still going to do the best I can. I would say I'm fairly abnormal, but I think everybody has that in them. They have that drive and that desire. If you remember the first day you picked up that pencil and said, I'm in business, you had a passion in your belly, and we got to find that again. And that's what the motivation movement's all about. We're going to find that passion with it, every single person.
So how do we translate that to business? Do you feel like there are business owners out here that have lost their passion, especially since the pandemic?
100%. It's been the last 18 months. People are discouraged. You know, we know that unemployment's an issue. We know getting labor force back into people back to work has been an issue. I don't care what the news says. I don't care what the media says. It's the facts. And we know this because we interact with small business on a daily basis. We're not taking surveys. We're looking in the eyes and the souls of our clients and seeing what's out there. And so I think small business owners, more than anything, and I'm telling you, all of you that are watching this, I know you're struggling and I know you're suffering, but you have that passion in your gut. And what you have to do is find a designated motivator that the two of you can bounce off of each other, because you're going to have a bad day one day. Find somebody who's going to pick you up the next day. They're out there for you. Okay. And there's no one has the right to steal away your business from you because of the economy, labor force, anything. You have your future in your own hands. All you need is just to grab that focus and that right gut and get back in there and take it back, because it's yours. It's your baby and you protect it and you deserve to bring it up. It's all yours.
All right, Brolin, last question for you. What is the best business advice you've ever gotten?
I'll tell you what, the best business advice I've ever gotten is enjoy what you do. Make sure you surround your people that you want to be around, because guess what? You're with those people more than you're with your family. So you love your family, you got married or not, you have kids that love you. You're not with them 8 to 12 hours a day. You're with your business people, whether it's your employees, your partners, or your clients. So what the best business advice I ever got is if you're in your gut, something doesn't feel right, it's not right. And have the guts to make a change. That was the best business advice I've ever gotten.
I love it. I love it. Have the guts to make a change. All right, Dawn, thank you so much. You have given us such amazing insight. Gosh, I feel like I could go outside and paint my house now. Anyway, but listen, when we come right back on the Small Biz Chat Live, we're going to switch gears and we're going to talk with a cryptocurrency educator about whether or not we all need to jump in. If it's too late or not, we're going to find out. You're watching the Small Biz Chat podcast, and we will be right back.
Is now the right time to start a business? This is the second most frequently asked question people always ask me, along with how can I become my own boss? And they aren't wrong for asking, because right now, these are the two most important questions anyone whose job security has been recently impacted is wondering. Hi, I'm Melinda Emerson, better known as Small Biz Lady. And when it comes to small business success, I've been featured multiple times on MSNBC and CNBC and ABC News as America's #1 small business expert. Since the last recession in 2008, I have helped many small business owners plan for success, and I'm still here, reaching 3 million entrepreneurs each week online. I've created a system that will teach you exactly how to become your own boss. I broke it all down into a 6-step system in my best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. It's the exact roadmap to help you successfully transition from having a job to being your own boss. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many folks are suffering, and I want to do my part to help. I'm giving away 1,000 copies of my book for free. All you need to do is cover the shipping. If you have always wanted to start your dream business, let me give you a roadmap to success. Take advantage of my free offer while supplies last. Click the button below to grab yours before they're all gone.
Welcome back. You're watching the Small Biz Chat Live podcast. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, your host. Now it's time for me to introduce my next guest, Sonia Dumas. She is a finance expert, cryptocurrency educator, and she's the founder of the company Curio Haus. She is a transformational consultant focused on helping business leaders grow their income, increase their influence, and expand their lifestyle. She explores ideas that range from how to have payday conversations to finance 3.0 and how cryptocurrency is changing the way we do business, grow our wealth. For more information, you guys can go to soniadumas.com. All right, Sonia, it's been so long since I talked to you. I'm so excited. So much has happened with cryptocurrency since the last time I talked to you. So let's go. All right, so let's talk about what is cryptocurrency, and then I want to know why we should care.
Right. So that is a big question, but I can tell you that cryptocurrency is maturing as an industry. And ultimately, it's all about technology and currency being fused into one asset. And what you have to think is that cryptocurrency is changing commerce, it's changing payments, it's changing investments, it's really changing the way we do life. And if you really want to have a bigger conversation about what cryptocurrency is, it really is the next iteration or the next phase of Web 3.0. And many of you don't know, right now we're living in a Web 2.0 world. So that's your social media, that's all the mobile engagement we have going on, that's cloud computing, right? All the businesses are in the cloud. Well, crypto's next step is a part of the internet evolution. So we're moving into what's considered Web 3.0. And many people are like, what is that? That's decentralized data networks. That means there's no longer going to be central entities that control all the data. It'll be in computers across the globe. Artificial intelligence, all those Terminator movies of AI taking over. Yeah, that already exists, actually. Artificial intelligence already exists, but now we're going to the next level of artificial intelligence. And what cryptocurrency is doing is it's removing third parties. So in a transaction, real estate, banking, brokerages, insurance, there's always a third party, right? A middleman. Well, crypto and technology is all about either removing or reducing that middleman. And so it's a big deal. So unfortunately, if COVID rocked your world last year, tech is going to continue to shift the way we do business.
All right. So how did you get into cryptocurrency? Like, how did you find your way? Because it sounds like you kind of got in on it early and you kind of understood it. And now you teach others. So help me understand what was your journey to finding out all about all things cryptocurrency?
So my journey has started with pretty much 15 years of hotel development and being connected to tech. And actually, it was in 2019 that one of my brothers, I'm originally from Silicon Valley, reached out to me and said, "You need to look into crypto." It was literally a text, "Sis, look into crypto." And so I started looking into crypto, and I came across a gentleman by the name of Jamar James. He's called the digital currency guy. And we connected, and he was like, "Here, drink from this fire hose and figure it out over the next year." And so he's like, and I'll guide you, but he's like, crypto is you better learn how to learn on your own and discover it. And it's hands-on. It's the science project you didn't think you wanted to do, but I definitely got involved in it. And, interesting enough, in crypto, we say that in basically 6 months, you have a master's, and in a year, you have a PhD, because it's so much information. So that's a little bit of my journey of crypto.
All right. So how does cryptocurrency work? Like, what is it? Because I understand it, but I think there's a whole lot of people who don't. So help me understand. Talk to me like I'm a sixth grader, right? How does crypto work? How do we buy this? And how does it make money? And why you can be a bazillionaire one day and a pauper the next? Like, help me understand how all of that works.
So in the simplest form, crypto has two components. So there's something you'll hear a lot in crypto called blockchain technology, right? It sounds massive. All it is, so I can't tell if you're 8, but if you're 15, you've come across something called a checkbook, right? So your parents have a checkbook and they do balances, right? Credits and debits. So think of blockchain technology as credits and debits, as far as data goes into this ledger, right? They call it a ledger, or kind of like a checkbook, to say, did this transaction happen? Now, what's really cool about blockchain technology is that it's tamper proof. Nobody can go in and erase it and say that didn't happen, right? It's censorship proof. It's global, so that it's not centralized by any particular country. It's not owned by any country, specifically Bitcoin. So that's one aspect, right? So you have to understand that all this data and information is being built on blockchain. So from that is the next layer, which is cryptocurrencies. And all that is a digital form of money. And it's a combination between a digital form of money and actual projects. And so in crypto, we actually don't even call them coins, we call them projects, because if you look at it, it's just another tech project, but instead of going to the stock market and buying the stocks, you're buying into their coin. So that's about the simplest kind of like base layer. It gets much more deep into that. I don't do any blockchain coding, don't ask me, but I know enough to know it's secure. So the whole idea is, with human beings, whenever we do a transaction, we have to trust somebody. And a lot of times we don't trust somebody, so we have a third party. So what crypto allows us to do is trust somebody out in, I'm like, I guess you can finally trust that Nigerian prince who's sending you an email saying, we're going to send you money. Okay, send it to my crypto wallet. Because if they send it to my crypto wallet, there's no way they can actually take the money back out. So the whole idea is you can do transactions on a global level with someone you've never met, but because your wallets are permanent, when they send a transaction, that allows you to say, okay, I trust you in this transaction. It's not really you, I trust the code. And so in crypto, we say in code we trust, because I don't have to trust another human being. As long as the contract works and it says that if I send this, you send that, and the exchange happens, then that happens at a level that hasn't really existed before.
Wow. Okay. So how do I get started? I got my $1,000. It's burning a hole in my pocket. I want to invest in crypto. What do I do, Sonia?
So a couple of things. I mean, there's, major exchanges out there. So in the US, Binance.us, Gemini, and Coinbase, those are the biggest ones that allow you to connect your checking account. Like, mind you, this isn't financial advice. This is just simply, if you want to know how to do it, those are about the 3 you go to: connect your checking account, and then transfer your $1,000. And then the next thing you have to ask yourself is, well, what do I want to buy? Well, before it was just Bitcoin. Now there's like well over 7,000 crypto projects. And If you go to crypto Twitter, everybody's talking about how their coin is on a moon mission. The minute you see that, please do not take financial advice from Twitter. That is not how you get set up for wealth building. If that's your goal, if you're looking to get rich quick, can you? Absolutely. Like I was here, the summer of DeFi where I saw like 4,000% in hours, right? But you had to know it was the right coin. You had to get in and out within minutes. There's something I call crypto skid row. I visited crypto skid row, and this is where like seriously 4-digit like percentage gains were happening. And I literally lost, I think I put in $500. I lost $500 in 9 minutes. I felt robbed. I was like, I've never been robbed before. This happened and I don't even know who took my money. At least if I would have went to a real skid row, I would have had some kind of entertainment with that. But no, in crypto skid row, your money's just gone. So you have to know what you're doing. And I'm a big proponent of just get educated. There's a website out there called caseforbitcoin.com. If you are super newbie, start there. Just understand what Bitcoin's about, who's investing, why is it a big deal? Just start super simple. No need to get complicated and start buying Shibu, Doge, kimchi, and hot dog and thinking that's how you're going to make your generational wealth. Probably not.
All right, but what about all these celebrities, though? I know Elon Musk has been out there trying to influence the market with his crazy self. So what, Dogecoin, that's really crap, right? I mean, it's just like a fashion coin. All these celebrities started mentioning it, but it's not really a thing, right? You got to be careful with this kind of stuff.
You do. So if you actually look into the history of Dogecoin, and I called it Doggy too. So the developer literally has on his website when he created this coin has no value. It has no use. And in fact, Dogecoin for the longest was being used in those in what we call illicit trades. They were using it because nobody else was paying attention to it. So it was trading at like 1/18 of a penny. No one was paying attention. All of a sudden, every people on TikTok were trying to pump it to $1, and they were like, "Hey, how fast can we get it to $1?" And then it became a thing. But here's the thing: even last year, food coins were a thing. Pet coins are a thing. And so it's just hype. And so if you're a trader and you have a bot that can go in and go out and make some big trades really quick and, micro scalp a couple of pennies, yeah, you can make money. But for the average person who's like, I'm going to invest this as part of my, diversification of my assets, you're just going to diversify to zero. So how about you just go to a campfire and throw some ones in it. You'll have so much more fun, and you'll actually spend time with your family.
Wow. Okay.
It's not pet coins, because at the end of the day, is Apple or Microsoft going to invest heavily in a pet coin? So you have to understand a lot of these are meme trendy coins that, yeah, if you know what you're doing short term as a trader and you're scalping, you can make money. If you're trying to treat it as an investment decision, you're already asking to lose money. So just don't do it. Just say.
Right. So it's almost like if it's on Twitter, it's too late or it's hype. Leave it alone. In both cases.
Well, not that if it's on Twitter, because Ethereum and Chainlink, and there's some solid projects. So crypto Twitter is a legitimate place to be when you understand what's going on in crypto. It's just you have to do your research to say, is this hype, or are businesses, institutions adopting this as a part of their business model into the future? And so that's the difference between what's the use case, right? You'll hear that a lot in crypto. What's the use case? Can you see your neighbor across the street utilizing this coin for some viable reason? If you can't think of one, don't go there.
Right. Okay. So are there rules about like when you buy a crypto coin or a crypto project, how fast you can sell it after you buy it?
You can buy it the minute you sell it, or sell it the minute you buy it. It's just, no different than the stock market. Like you can buy and sell as quickly as you want to. The whole thing it comes down to are, what's your money goals? Because when people see crypto, all they hear about are the gains, right? These crazy triple-digit gains that have never existed in history for at least us. Now, it's existed in the stock market over the course of time. So if you go back to 1901 and you put in $100 and you get to 2021, you would have seen something like, over a 4-digit gain in your money, but you'd also be over 100 and dead. So, maybe your family would be able to benefit from it. But in crypto, what's interesting, so there's a really cool book that if you haven't read it, there's actually 2 books, and we'll talk about it a little bit later, that I would recommend you look at if you're into crypto you understand money. But here's the thing, like we all know Warren Buffett, man's worth over 85 billion. It took him, it wasn't until he was over 65 that he made his 85 billion. And it took him most of his lifetime, starting at 20, to generate that 85 billion. Jeff Bezos started Amazon in 1994. It's 2021 and he's worth 115 billion. So what that shows you is technology and time and money actually gets tighter and smaller. So the days of, well, you need to wait 50 years and compound 7% interest, crypto is saying, Bitcoin has been earning over 200% returns since 2008. So it's been a little over 12 years. So what you're seeing is a compression of time and how long it takes. And so everyone's getting excited, like, well, let me get in on that, right? I want to get in on a 200% return a year. And so the thing is, you have to understand which crypto projects are legitimate, what's being utilized, and then decide what's my money goal. If it's to day trade, that's a different strategy than if it's investing. And even investing, look, crypto's only been around for 12 years. Ethereum was hacked in 2016. This is why you have Ethereum Classic and Ethereum. And so they're still learning, building best practices, putting in security protocols. So those of us who are in crypto right now, we know there's risk. That's why every app you go to, it says beta. Like, we're just testing this out. We hope it works. So far it is, but there's all last year, scams, hacks, liquidity pools, rug pulls, coding errors. So even if you have a legitimate team that never gets hacked, they can have a coding error that makes you lose all your money. So just know that this is something that's growing. It's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to change. China's ahead of us, but we won't even get started there on the central bank currencies that are coming. And so, but just know that tech is shifting in a way that your business is going to change how you accept money. So it's going to be Visa, MasterCard, Bitcoin, probably Ethereum. Those are going to be like some of the new payment options. Oh yeah, and the US version of the digital dollar. Okay.
Interesting. All right. Now, one of the interesting things that I heard about the pandemic and when people were getting stimulus checks is that there's a whole bunch of regular folks that now have gotten into investing in crypto. And it's amazing. Like every now and again, I'll go somewhere and be like, girl, you into that crypto? I got, blah, blah, blah. You know, I mean, like people will like try to engage me around conversations in it. And is that a good thing? Like everybody trying to get into crypto? Is that good?
That is a good thing in the sense of mass adoption, because the technology curve is actually pretty steep. Like you want to be a part. So anytime when you look at a new asset, the biggest gains are made in the beginning in the growth curve, and then it eventually flattens out, and then you go back to earning 4% a year. So this whole idea of 200% plus a year is not going to last forever. And so this is why those of us who are early are excited about when institutions are getting into crypto, when everyday people are starting to learn about it and say, hey, I want to pay for my Starbucks coffee with some of my Bitcoin or my Ethereum or my Chainlink. This is why Visa and MasterCard have on-ramp programs, so that way you can send your crypto to your Visa or MasterCard and go spend it. Because the whole idea is the velocity of money. We got to keep money flowing, and crypto helps that move a lot faster in a creative way. And so I think it's good, but I also think this is where the scams and the hacks are going to happen. And if you're not educated about what crypto is, if you're not educated about keeping your password safe, then yeah, like I said, you're looking to just go burn money and give it to somebody in Nova Scotia you never met before. And there is no 1-800 number. There is no redo, do-over button. Like once it's gone, that's it. And that sinking hole that's in your stomach, yeah, it's going to be there for a while. So,
all right, Sonia. So if I'm a novice, I haven't gotten started with crypto yet, what should I go read? I don't know about you, but I'm a tactile person. I like to read physical books. Do not give me an electronic Kindle. I don't want it. So help me understand, what are some books I could go and read to sort of like get up to speed quickly so that I could get started investing with crypto?
So one of the books that I like to recommend to people is actually called The Psychology of Money, because how you view money, both from a generational aspect, how you actually dealt with money during your young adult life, it's going to tell you a lot about your happiness, your greed. It's going to help to inform what your investment strategy is. And this goes with stocks, bonds, commodities, and especially crypto, because crypto is super, super temperamental. So if you don't understand what's going on with you in your relationship with money, the minute Bitcoin Bitcoin drops 50% like it has now, you are going to basically buy high, sell low, and you can only do that so many times before you actually go broke. And so one of the things I like about the psychology of money is that it actually shows you that generationally, we also have different ideas about money. Some of us grew up during high interest rate times. Those who grew up when there was high interest rates has a very different view of money than those of us who grew up with like next to no zero interest rates, i.e. me and a lot of my generation. And so when you understand that there's also generational triggers that says, well, this is why I invest conservatively, or this is why I'm more of a risk taker. And so the psychology of money is going to help you to understand your psychology, because it doesn't matter if it's crypto, stocks, bonds, or commodities. If you don't understand your relationship to money, then you're setting yourself up for failure. And I definitely don't want to see that.
All right. Well, so if I need a strategy for my cryptocurrency, can you give us an example of a couple of different perspectives that people have taken, like as they kind of launched into getting started with crypto?
Yeah, so there's a couple of ways you can look at crypto. So if you're a day trader, right, then you're only scalping, right? You're only looking for opportunities within the day, within maybe even a couple of days. So there's some people called swing traders. And so the idea is you identify projects that are having good momentum, good volume up and down, and you basically set your prices to a tight range, and you just buy and sell that all day until basically the market's exhausted itself. And so that's more of a day trader strategy. I don't really do day trading because the statistics also show that day traders lose their accounts, something to the tune of over 70% of day traders. So even if you'll see on Twitter, I just made over 100,000, right? Talk to that same guy in about 3 weeks. Chances are he went and leveraged 100x and he actually owes somebody some money. So my thing is, if you're watching this, don't do day trading unless you know what you're doing or you spend years basically wrecking your account. Most day traders say that you'll have to wreck your account 2 to 3 times. That means you'll have to lose everything 2 to 3 times before you realize, maybe the way I'm handling this isn't good. So don't do that. So then there's the more of those of us who look at it from an investment strategy. And so my thing is, once you've identified some solid projects, I like to look at ecosystem infrastructure projects. So in my case, that's Bitcoin, that's Ethereum, that's Chainlink. I like to look at them and think, okay, how do I then dollar cost average in? How do I understand what the market's doing? And how do I write it for the long term? So if you're trying to get in 1 month and get out, if you're trying to time the market, you're going to find yourself either missing really cool opportunities or getting wrecked by really bad opportunities. And so the whole thing is going back to Warren Buffett and what he did, right? He bought it 20 and held it till over 65, and the man looks like a genius. So actually what works in your favor when it comes to compounding wealth is time and allowing good projects to compound. So if you really believe in a project and what the team is doing and how it's growing, give it some years. I tell most of my students, hey, give it a 36-month, give it a 3-year horizon. And if it's solid, you're actually going to be happy with what your future looks like. And if it's not solid, you'll get some early indicators that I may want to exit stage left. So those are some of my thoughts on strategies when it comes to crypto.
All right, Sonia, I got one last question for you before we take our break. Should you invest in one thing or have a portfolio of assets?
I like to look at it. I mean, never put your eggs in one basket. So that's just this is kind of like my personal feel about crypto. Don't put your eggs in one basket. Most of the sophisticated traders that I see in crypto have multiple assets. Once again, looking at what's building blockchain, what is holding together the ecosystem of cryptocurrencies. They're thinking big picture and they're thinking long term. And so I say, think of it that way, but also look at what's your money goals, right? Are you actually trying to build wealth or pay for your vacation next year? What are you actually trying to do? Or actually you trying to develop a living to say, hey, this is going to become my new income. Depending on what your money goals are, that's going to determine the assets or the different crypto projects you get into. It's going to determine how long you stay. It's going to determine how much you put in. And so there's a lot of what ifs, and you have to decide that, but you can only decide that when you understand what each project does. This always goes back to education. If you don't know what's going on, you're not going to know when to buy, you're not going to know when to sell, and sharks are going to eat at your portfolio all day until it's down to zero, or you're like, okay, I've had enough, this crypto thing doesn't work. No, it works. It's just you didn't know what you were doing.
Right. So the goal is to avoid crypto skid row, right? So So when we come right back, we're going to talk more about cryptocurrency, and we're going to talk a little bit about the dark side of crypto. So I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady. You're watching the Small Biz Chat podcast live, and we will be right back.
Is now the right time to start a business? This is the second most frequently asked question people always ask me, along with how can I become my own boss? And they aren't wrong for asking, because right now, these are the two most important questions anyone whose job security has been recently impacted is wondering. Hi, I'm Melinda Emerson, better known as Small Biz Lady. And when it comes to small business success, I've been featured multiple times on MSNBC and CNBC and ABC News as America's #1 small business expert. Since the last recession in 2008, I have helped many small business owners plan for success, and I'm still here, reaching 3 million entrepreneurs each week online. I've created a system that will teach you exactly how to become your own boss. I broke it all down into a 6-step system in my best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months. It's the exact roadmap to help you successfully transition from having a job to being your own boss. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, many folks are suffering, and I want to do my part to help. I'm giving away 1,000 copies of my book for free. All you need to do is cover the shipping. If you have always wanted to start your dream business, let me give you a roadmap to success. Take advantage of my free offer while supplies last. Click the button below to grab yours before they're all gone.
Welcome back to the Small Biz Chat podcast. I'm with my guest, Sonia Dumas, who is a crypto educator, and she is talking with us about all things crypto. And so I want to go back to you, Sonia. I want you to tell us about, due to the nature of cryptocurrency, scammers are abundant, right? So how do you keep your stuff safe? How do you keep your money safe?
So first thing first is, one, do you actually even own your crypto? So the idea is passwords, seed phrases, keywords. You never want to give those away. And people get scammed in ways that they don't think possible. So, sometimes people, they store their passwords on their digital files, right? Their Google or their Microsoft OneDrive. So all somebody has to do is just hack your OneDrive or your digital file storage. And there it is on a Word document. Here's all the passwords to all my money. It's also something for nothing. Anytime you see that Elon Musk is going to send you 1,000 Bitcoin, if you just send him one, that's all over Twitter. So if you have this whole something for nothing mentality, then you're going to send that money and that money is never going to come back. But scams can also happen in other ways. There's fake coins, fake apps. So there are apps that you can put your crypto on and it looks legit. And then all of a sudden that app developer just disappears with you and your money because they coded it that way. So there are so many landmines. And so
Wow.
be able to, one, start with some of the larger exchanges that we talked about, Binance.us, Coinbase, and Gemini, and just hover there, right? Because at the end of the day, they don't require seed phrases, at least for the exchange accounts. And so you can kind of stay in a little bit of a safety zone and then learn about what it takes to have your own wallet, whether it's on your phone, your iPad, your computer. Understand what it takes to move money, because sometimes it's not about scams that makes people lose money. Sometimes they don't know how to move money. They send it to the wrong address, which is 28 characters long, and money's gone. So there's just a lot of things you have to get educated about when it comes to crypto, so you don't lose your money either from other people taking money from you, or you just sending your money off into basically blockchain oblivion and it'll never come back.
All right, Sonia, I have a little bit more technical question. How does the IRS treat Bitcoin versus cash? And what is crypto ETF? Can you explain kind of like the difference here?
Sure. So the IRS treats crypto as an asset. So yes, there are capital gains. It has the same rules like stocks, where if you hold it for a year and a day, your capital gains are actually smaller than if you basically day trade it and sell it in less than a year and a day. The other thing with crypto versus cash is that with Bitcoin, you actually, because you treat it as an asset, you actually have a lot more opportunities with it. So one of the things I can explain to you, for instance, is You have companies like Grayscale and Bitwise that are saying, and JP Morgan saying, hey, and Fidelity saying, we're going to come out with a crypto ETF. What does that mean? Well, ETF, think of your S&P 500, right? There's an index for that. There's the Dow Jones index. There's there's an ETF for Amazon and Google where you don't actually own the actual stock. You just own the price action, right? You get to participate in the price action up and down. Well, crypto ETFs, what happens is these institutions, they go out, they buy a basket of usually Ethereum, Chainlink, Bitcoin, and they say, hey, we're going to put this in the form of basically like a stock and sell you the stock at a premium, and you get to participate in the price action, right? Because then what does that do? That's convenience. Now you don't have to worry about wallets, exchange accounts, seed phrases. You don't got to worry about being hacked, because all you have to do is just send your money to Fidelity, Bitwise, Grayscale, and they'll go buy the crypto for you and then sell it to you as a stock and say, hey, you get access to the price action. But when you own Bitcoin, because it's an asset, you actually get to do a couple of things. So yes, you get to participate in the price action of Bitcoin, both up and down. Like let's make sure we're setting expectations, but you also can borrow against it. You can loan it. You can participate as a lender. You can use it as collateral. So you can use this asset where you don't have to sell it. You can keep Bitcoin and then utilize it as collateral to go out and buy other assets. There are people who've used Bitcoin to buy everything from cars to real estate to other businesses. It all depends who wants to do that transaction with you. And that's what's being opened up. And so that's why I look at crypto as an asset. You can earn interest on it. You can go to a company called Celsius Network, and they allow you to earn interest on your crypto. And well, I think with Bitcoin, I think for the US, it's somewhere around 5 to 6%. What bank account's giving you 5 to 6% and an increase in price? Nobody. And even if you do something called, I don't want to get too complicated, but something called a stable coin. Say you're like, hey, I don't want to deal with crypto's price fluctuations, where there are things called stable coins that stay to $1 and it's backed by various assets. But the whole idea is a stable coin stays stable to $1. And there are companies like Celsius Network that gives you anywhere from 8 to 10% interest on just holding it as a dollar. So then that way your money still stays pretty much stable. That's why they call it stable coins. So there's so many different opportunities that are available to you when you actually own the physical coin, but you better know what you're doing as far as wallets and exchange accounts and keeping your passwords safe. And if that's something you don't want to do, then that's where a crypto ETF comes into play, where you just go to Grayscale or Fidelity or Bitwise and say, hey, here's my money. Just give me a stock equivalent to Bitcoin's price action and I'm good. But you also pay a premium, because there are premiums to be paid. And you also pay anywhere from 2 to 2.5% annual fee, right? They're going to still try to make their money where they can. So just keep that in mind, but that gets a little bit more technical.
Right. So the institutional banks are still trying to figure out how to charge us fees, right? That's what you're telling me. All right. So what is the best advice you can give someone who is just getting started with crypto?
The best advice I can say is get educated and start simple. It is a fire hose of information that changes by the hour. You can't keep up with it. Trust me, when I first started in Bitcoin, I was up till 4 a.m. in the morning, just devouring information, got no sleep, was starting to lose weight. Like not in a good way either. I was like, I wasn't on a keto diet. Trust me. I was just like, I'm just up, heart palpitations, wondering if Asia's market at 3 a.m. is wrecking the market. Like crypto will mess up your world like drugs and alcohol can't even touch. But that's when you're getting educated and you're starting to like, oh my gosh, what's this about? So start small, start simple. Get educated, and then, start with the big boys. I keep mentioning Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Chainlink, because they really are building the ecosystem of what everybody else is building on. So before you go after some coin that just came out of Singapore that, just went up 500%, figure out what they're built on, what they're trying to accomplish. But this also starts with understanding what we call the base layer. Understand what the foundation of crypto is, and then build from there. And you'll see how much of an appetite you have, right? You'll either go all in, or you'll say, you know what, I'm going to talk to my financial advisor and have different conversations. And that's fine too.
All right. So what would you say about using portfolio automation tools? Good thing, bad thing?
So when you say portfolio automation, there's a couple of things. So if you're just trying to keep track of your portfolio, there's apps like BlockFi, Zerion, the crypto app that, you can utilize to, you should keep track, because the thing what you quickly realize in cryptos, especially when you start moving money, you lose track of the transaction. It's an accounting nightmare. So accountants and crypto reporting, tax reporting, it's a nightmare. The IRS hasn't figured it all out. Accountants haven't figured it all out. The best thing that most people have is like, it depends, and we're getting guidance. That's the most you're going to hear. It is super vague because that's where we're at. So yes, you do want to, there are software companies out there that will allow you to connect your wallet, and it tracks all your transactions so you know what your tax bill is. It's becoming easier. 5 years from now, we won't even be having a conversation on how to track all of this. But once again, this is in its maturing phase. Bitcoin's only 12 years old. So technically it's not even a teenager yet. So it really hasn't started to wild out just yet. So let's give it some time. If we think this teen years, the 12-year-old is bad, it's going to be interesting seeing what the 16-year-old Bitcoin is going to do. So, and then also from a trading standpoint, yes, there's all kinds of bots out there and algorithms. It depends on how sophisticated you want to get. And once again, get educated about what those bots can do. There's no bot out there that's going to just make you money all day. The best the bots do is try to increase your probability, but just know that there's not 100%. I actually started in my early days with a crypto bot that was buying high and selling low. After like the third transaction, I was like, I could do that myself. I was like, I don't need a bot to lose me money. Thing is, the market was moving so fast, this bot couldn't keep up. So I had to turn him off. I had to deactivate. I was like, you're losing me money. That's not what I paid you.
Oh my gosh. All right. So you do teach classes on cryptocurrency, do you not?
I do. I consider myself the coin wealth coach because I love educating people. It is a bit, I try to take the fire hose and turn it into like a garden hose. So you're still going to get wet, right? But you're still going to get the information that you need. And you can visit soniadumas.com, click on the crypto tab, and you'll learn about, my latest newsletters or any of the classes and workshops I have coming up.
All right. And last question for you. What is the best business advice anyone has ever given you?
So the best business advice is the only thing you can plan on when it comes to your well laid out plan is that your plan will not go according to plan. And so you need to adapt, adjust, and move on because your plan will not go according to plan.
Love it. Love it. Well, listen, thank you so much, Sonia. You have really just dropped so many pearls of wisdom on us tonight. And when we come back, I'm going to bring both of my guests back and I'm going to ask my favorite business questions. You're watching the Small Biz Chat Live podcast. I'm Melinda Emerson, Small Biz Lady, and we will be right back.
I just finished presenting to over 2,000 small biz owners who jumped on my webinar on how to become your own boss in these uncertain times. I partner with top brands including Verizon, American Express, and Chase to educate small business owners across the country. In today's webinar, I taught my 6-step system to start a business. I also taught them how to establish a disaster-proof plan to turn their calling into income. We talked about how to find the people they want to serve online. I know how to help you make money as a boss. I've spent the last 12 years compiling exactly what it takes to become your own boss. I even broke it down into a 6-step system in my best-selling book, Become Your Own Boss. Over 100,000 people in multiple languages around the world have this book. And due to the pandemic, I know people need help. If you're ready to transition successfully from being an employee to becoming your own boss, listen carefully. I'm giving away 1,000 copies of my book, Become Your Own Boss, for free. All you need to do is pay for shipping. That's right, I'm giving away 1,000 copies. This book is going to show you how to become your own boss, create a pandemic-proof plan, and launch a successful business. Don't delay. This offer is only available while supplies last.
Hi, everybody. We're back on the Small Biz Chat Live podcast, and I'm back with both of my guests, Brolin from Team Brolin, and I have Sonia Dumas, who is going to talk to us about what their favorite things are that I'm going to ask them. So we've brought each of them back, and what we're going to do is ask both of them the same business question. They only have 30 seconds to answer. You cannot repeat the answer of the other guest, because if you do, I'm going to give you the cowbell. I don't want to give you that loud noise. So I want you guys to be quick and be good. All right. So here we go. My first question is going to come to you, Dawn, and you have 30 seconds. And then I'm going to ask you, Sonia, the same question. So my first question is, Dawn, what is your favorite podcast?
Well, it'd be silly for me not to say the Small Biz Chat podcast is the best. And I will tell you why I believe that, because you have such great variety of information for everyone who's in business. It doesn't matter your industry, and you come across the board. It's an awesome podcast.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. You're not just saying that because you're my buddy, are you? All right.
No way.
All right. Sonia, what is your favorite business podcast?
My favorite is the Investors Podcast, because their tagline is "We study billionaires." And I want to know what billionaires are up to.
I love that. Who are the hosts of that podcast? That sounds pretty good.
Right. I'm not sure. Don't ask me their names. I just, billionaire, who's the billionaire? How they make their money? What do I need to do?
Listen, I believe success leaves clues everywhere. So it's definitely worth listening to that podcast. All right. So Sonia, I'm going to come to you first this time. What is your favorite business app? What is your favorite app?
My favorite, oh gosh, business app. I'd have to say Telegram. Telegram is, you may not heard, but it's really big in the crypto world, and it keeps me up to date on what's going on in the world when it comes to all things crypto. So Telegram is my favorite app.
All right, I'll take that. Dawn, what about you? What is your favorite business app?
Well, this should probably shock you. Of course, for me, it's QuickBooks. It's my favorite app because that tells the true story of a business health and wealth.
I love it. I kind of knew you were going to say that one, but I just wanted to see if there was something different you were going to tell me. All right, Sonia, what is your favorite old school marketing tip? Old school.
I got to throw it back. I would say the most important time that you spend is in front of the client. Like that is, I would say at the end of the day, it's not all your social media, it's not all the emails that you send, but the one-on-one time that you spend in front of a client or a prospect is the most important time, the most pivotal time of your sales process, your customer service process, and never forget that.
Love it. All right, Dawn, what about you? What is your favorite old school marketing tip?
I'm always going to say the relationships that you have with either colleagues and or clients, a little bit of what Sonia was saying, but more in that, get out there, be bold and be big about what you're the best at. That would be because the more networking you get out there and the more people say, oh, hey, I know the crypto lady, Sonia, they know that she is the biggest and the best, and people are going to refer to her.
Love it. You know, one of my favorite old school marketing tips is actually handwritten notes. Handwritten personal notes on personal stationery is still a win. And with so many people sending email, you know, a snail mail is actually making a comeback, believe it or not. All right, Dawn, I'm going to ask you this question first. What is your favorite business book you've ever read? Favorite business book?
That's a really tough one, but I'm going to stick with my bottom line boy, Mike Michalowicz, and Profit First, because he is eliminating entrepreneurial poverty across the country and across the world. And I believe in his process. I believe in his theory, and I believe the process works because it's worked for me.
You know, I'm a big fan of Mike Michalowicz. That's my boy. That's my hokey brother. All right. Sonia, what is your favorite business book you've ever read?
Right now, it's this little green one called How Rich People Think. Can you see a theme here?
I do.
How Rich People Think. So that's one of my favorite books right now that I've read and highly recommend it. About a handful of principles that will change your world.
Love it, love it. And my favorite business book is Disrupt You by Jay Samit. I love this book because he says, in order to disrupt the world, the first thing you got to do is disrupt yourself, which is my philosophy as well. And I love Jay and I love that book. All right, you guys are so awesome. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. My guest, extraordinary entrepreneur and business leader, Dawn Brolin. Please support her new book, The Designated Motivator. And thank you to amazing wealth expert, Sonia Dumas. If you need help getting started with cryptocurrency, head over to soniadumas.com. She's got lots of great resources to help you. And thank you all for joining me for this episode of the Small Biz Chat podcast. I've got a brand new book coming out, Become Your Own Boss in 12 Months, revised and expanded, coming out this fall. If you want to pre-order it, head over to becomeyourownbossbook.com. And I've got some amazing bonuses, so go on over there. And if you want more information about how to start and grow a successful small business, head over to Small Biz Lady University and sign up for my course, How to Sell and Market Online. I promise I'll get you going in the right direction. The mission of the Small Biz Chat is to end small business failure. I'm Melinda Emerson, the Small Biz Lady, your host. Until next time, I want to leave you with this. You never lose in business. Either you win or you learn. God bless everybody.